Oh, were Derek, Dylan, and Chad bullying you again? I'm so sorry, they just don't seem to learn, do they? Well, you can absolutely spend the rest of your lunch period here with me. I was just organizing some of these vocabulary quizzes. If it's any consolation, I can let you know that you made an A+, one of the highest grades in the class. There were only 4 students who made 100%, and I will be awarding you all gold stars next Monday. So you have that to look forward to. But if you would like, it would really be a big help to me if you could just organize these pipe cleaners by color. I've had them all just balled up here since last term, but we're going to be using them all in a project next week. And it would be great if I could just have a stack of the oranges, a stack of the greens, a stack of the pinks, a stack of the purples, and lastly a stack of the blues. The stack of the blues looks like it will be pretty sparse, but if you could just separate them all and put them all together for me, that would help me so much. Were you still able to finish your lunch during your lunch period? Okay, that's very good. And did one of the lunch chaperones see the incident? Miss Charlotte. Oh, she's so good at catching those boys. You know, some teachers like to say, boys will be boys, but what I like to say is, boys will be punished. What exactly did Derek, Dylan, and Chad do to you today? Oh, they were throwing paper at your hair. I'm so sorry. That must have really been tough, huh? Well, if you'd like, you can lean down your head and I can see if there's any stuck bits still in there. Would that be nice? Yeah, go ahead, lean your head down. Let's see if I can find anything. You have such an interesting hair texture. I feel like stuff could easily get kind of lost in there. Yeah, looks like... This looks like one of my quizzes. How silly. Let's see. Does your head hurt anywhere at all? I know it was just paper, but you never know when students are throwing paper. They might end up with paper cuts. Do you feel cut? No. Okay, that's good. A little bit of a silver lining there. You know, I used to get bullied when I was your age, and I always used to console myself with fantasies of becoming an astrophysicist and watching my classmates waste away in unhappy marriages. But as I got older, you know, I realized that some people just grow up and other people don't. And a big part of growing up is not fantasizing anymore about other people's downfall, and also not revering astrophysicists. I became a teacher in the end, so some of them are still laughing at me, but some of them do really respect this job, and you know, I suppose likewise I look down on some of them and I look up to some of them, and it doesn't have too much to do with how much money they're making or how smart they are or even the strength of their marriages. I think it just has to do with this is so silly. What on earth were they doing? I think it just has to do with recognizing other people who see people as people and seeing them as people. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't, but you will when you're older, I'm sure. You're very bright. Now, let's see. I'm gonna get back to these quizzes over here. This week we had some pretty difficult words. Do you remember what the bonus question was? It was one where at the end of the quiz, after everyone had their papers flipped over on their desk, I said, whoever can spell Brobdingnagian correctly gets a bonus 5 points on the quiz. Would you like to guess how many people so far? I'm about halfway through. How many people so far have spelled it correctly? Just two. Just two. Although, especially for those kind of sounded out bonus questions, I always feel a little bit guilty because it probably has to do with how I'm pronouncing the word. You know, Brobdingnagian, it's like I could very easily have just said it weird and then someone would spell it weird, and how much could I really blame them for that? But I think that is why it's a bonus question, right? What's that? Yeah, go ahead. You can turn around. I can see if there's any more little scattered bits of paper in the back of your head. Go ahead. Alright, let's see. Oh my goodness, you're absolutely right. There is more back here. I wonder where they got all these pieces of paper. I hope it's not someone's homework. That sure would be a shame. Well, let's see. I think we can just pull them out one by one. I heard Mr. Fredericks talking a couple days ago about the boom in ADHD diagnoses just within our own student population lately. And honestly, at this point, I feel like we should just skip all the bells and whistles and start putting medication in the cafeteria food. I brought that up to the principal, but then the principal said that it probably would be a bad idea, considering all of the microplastics in the food already and the estrogeneta shenanigans everyone's eating at home. And I said, you know what? I'm not a nutritionist. I am an English teacher, and I probably shouldn't talk about this or give any suggestions, really, because that's just simply not my job. But all that's to say, Derek, Dylan, and Chad are all very public about their ADHD diagnoses, you know. They practically wear it on their sleeves. And even though their particular predilections may have given them the kind of energy that influenced them to put all these little papers in your hair, that really doesn't make it okay. But we should try to have understanding for their conditions, all right? We really, really should. Because you have ADHD too, And so does little Maggie Ann. And Maggie Ann is never doing anything like this. You're never doing anything like this. And boy, do I know that when we give Derek, Dylan, and Chad's parents a call, they're just going to say, we're working on it in therapy. And fair enough, I say. But it doesn't seem like therapy is working very well now, does it? Anyway, how is your ADHD lately? Have you felt like you've been able to, retain some things from class? Oh, that's good. You did get an A on your quiz after all, so you've got to be doing something right. I really think it has a lot to do with parental support. And personally, I'd much rather have a class full to the brim with ADHD students than Geminis or something. Now, let's see. Let's move on to our multiplication quizzes. The multiplication quiz, you did seem to struggle on a little bit more. You didn't get quite 100, but you still turned in your paper very quickly, and you were far from, what I would call a concerning grade. But can I ask you some of your times tables really quick, just as a review? Okay. Let's go over our sevens. What is 7 times 5? 35. Good. 7 times 6. 42. Good. 7 times 7. 49. Good. 7 times 8. 56. Excellent. And 7 times 9. 63. Very good job. Very, 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 very good. Excellent work. Sometimes I think just hearing it rather than seeing it can make such a big difference. I was such an auditory learner as a child. I could never do any tests sitting down or quizzes, especially the ones that were timed. I very, very much preferred to just have my teacher ask me questions. Now, let me make sure that there's no little papers in your hair because the lunch period is going to be ending soon. And I do not want you to worry about there being, papers in your hair going into your next classrooms. So, let's see. I'm gonna have to keep an eye out on these, purple sheets. I don't want whoever's homework this is to get blamed in the long run. You are such a star student of the class. It's very clear how much you pay attention, and I think that some of the other students really look up to you. And you shouldn't take that for granted, You really shouldn't. And if it ever feels like expectations are too high for you to be a class leader, I just want you to know that no one's expecting you to excel. We're just excited for you that you are excelling at the rate that you are. We see so much potential in you, and the potential that we see in you isn't the kind of thing that makes us depend on any way in your success. It just makes us excited for your success. The teachers have really caught on to just how much effort you're putting into your classes, and it's absolutely commendable. And you're always helping the other students too, which is, just icing on the cake, really. And unfortunately, it's really common for students like you to end up being victims of bullying, and it's common for students like you to feel pressure and feel, this confusing combination of insecure and supported and safe and unsafe. And, I just want to let you know that anytime you're having a rough time at lunch, you can come into this classroom and I'll give you pipe cleaners or something to organize. We can work on your times tables. We can review anything that you need for other classes. And if you want, you can just sit over there and I'll sit over here and do my work. Trust me, that is fine by me. This classroom is a safe place for you. Anytime that the door is open, you can come on in and say hi or just sit down. Totally fine by me. And any other classroom doors that are open, those should be safe for you as well. The teachers have noticed you. We really have. And we think that you're gearing up to do great things in the coming years. And we've also noticed the bullying, unfortunately. That said, our classroom doors are open to everyone, and not just you. And I wouldn't be too surprised if one day you walk in and you see Derek, or Dylan, or Chad sitting in here with their lunch. Because you'd be surprised how much bullies bully each other too. And sometimes they just need a break from it all, Maybe you wouldn't be surprised. Let's see. Your hair's looking pretty clean now. Pretty spit spot perfect, I think. Spit spot perfect. Spit spot perfect. Have you memorized our school's alma mater yet? Oh, I always get the words mixed up too. When I was your age, was a band kid, and I don't actually think I learned the words to our alma mater until probably junior or senior year, because I was just always, playing the oboe, not paying too much attention to the words. And, no one was really paying too much attention to the oboe either, but that was totally okay with me. Totally okay with me. Alright. Your hair is looking pretty spit spot perfect. Do you think you're ready to go into your history class? I think you're ready to go into your history class. Now, Mr. Frederick is going to be doing some pretty intense work this week, I hear. I believe you all are just starting the unit on the expansion westward in the United States, which will actually coincide with our class a little bit as we go into our unit about great American authors. We're definitely going to be covering some works that talk about, the expansion west and the literature elements of Manifest Destiny historically. And so there will definitely be some crossover with Mr. Frederick's class. So if you really want to go above and beyond, I recommend you keep your brain on all those little connections. Don't be afraid to wonder, why did this author have this perspective? Why did that author have that perspective? What could have motivated this author to talk positively or negatively about certain people, the United States, England, the idea of expansion, the idea of land, the idea of territory. Personally, I think if you can handle your sevens times tables, you can handle the nuance required to understand American history, but that's just me. How are you feeling? A little bit better? Okay. You go get him, Star. You're gonna be great out there. I know it.